Yo, ladies and gents, welcome to a Sibylle guide for Duet Night Abyss. Before I get into this, a quick disclaimer. I think that this is a very interesting character, probably one of the most interesting characters in the game in terms of how their kit works. But I think in the current stage, because not everyone is at the highest level possible, I don't think she's as good as the other characters. Now, I think she has good potential later on when you've maxed her out, when you have all the right weapons, all the right stats, but currently, I think she just doesn't live up to what the other characters can do with a lower investment. So, am I saying that you should not play her? Absolutely not. But if you are investing into her and you feel like you're doing lackluster damage or it's difficult to maintain your resources and all that stuff, it's okay because that's just the nature of how this character works, I believe. Anyway, let's fly straight into it. So, her skills, I'm actually gonna leave this menu because I don't like the fact that she constantly talks. Her skills all kind of work in synergy with each other, the skill, the ult, and the passive. But the way that it's explained, in my opinion, it's quite complicated when it really doesn't need to be. At the bottom here, you have a resource bar. This is your Power of Zeus, I believe it's called. It's currently at 0. It can go up to 300. The way that you gain this bar is by hitting enemies with special effects. Now, special effects in this game just means... I'm gonna have to go through the yapping section, I believe. Means hitting them with something that has trigger probability. So if I have a weapon with 40% trigger probability, that means that I have a 4 out of 10 chance to hit a special effect. And every time I hit a special effect, I gain 11 points, currently at level 6, out of my 300 bar for resources. Now keep in mind that there are ways to do damage to multiple enemies at once, either with melee or with your ranged weapon into an ultimate. So this bar can actually go up pretty quickly in AoE scenarios. One of the reasons why I think she's not as good early game as she will be later on when everyone's maxed out is because usually passives are as simple as you upgrade it, you get more damage. So then the scaling for that damage is kind of the same as whatever point you are in the game. But this passive is not about damage, it's about a resource that you gain. And because that resource's total amount is not going to change, but the amount that you gain per trigger is, the higher the level goes, this passive becomes exponentially more important and will also exponentially do more at a later stage than it will this early on. So yeah. Her kit basically revolves around you use your skill, which is going to drain your bar down, but it will do a lot of damage. And then while your skill is up, you either have your ultimate, which you can shoot into to do AoE damage, or you can also melee into it to do AoE damage, or you're doing AoE damage to enemies with your melee weapon just outright. And as long as you're doing this and you are triggering the special effect, you are gaining this Power of Zeus. Actually, yeah, I guess I can show you. You are gaining the Power of Zeus, and then when you use your skill, it will drain when it does damage. So obviously now it's not draining because it's not doing damage. I'm going to show you in a second what it would look like in a combat scenario. So yeah, that's the whole thing. You put your skill down, and then you just try to keep this bar as high as you possibly can, while the skill is on as many enemies as you possibly can have them. And obviously you want to have your ultimate out as well, because not only is that an extra source of being able to trigger extra like special effects, you can also shoot into it to have AoE damage, which then also has the ability to trigger special effects, but it'll also do damage on top of all of that. So yeah, basically put summon down, and either do this or do this. That's your bread and butter on this character. That being said, okay, wait, that's actually kind of stupid. I'm gonna have to wait till my ult runs out, I guess. Oh, because I'm technically in combat with my ult. This is actually kind of cool. I've noticed when you put this thing down and there are no enemies nearby, your summons, so your combat partners, will actually attack this thing because it is counted as an enemy. There we go. Okay. I actually haven't paid attention to the fact... They might actually do this as well when there are actual enemies around them. I'm not entirely sure. Haven't paid attention to it. So yeah, that's that. I want to quickly show that these two are obviously worth getting as well. Obviously, level everything up, but HP is really important because all of your damage comes from HP, or nearly all of your damage comes from HP. And then obviously skill damage is important as well. One important thing to maybe note as well is that the skills that you have can also inflict a bonus effect or you know the trigger probability thing based on the trigger probability stat of your weapon. So this is another reason to have as much trigger probability as possible. I feel like I'm going to say these two words quite a lot today. Your third passive basically increases attack for you and electro allies. So let's say that you are running Rhythm as a main DPS. You want to have this unlocked and run Sibylle as an off-field character just to get some extra damage on your Rhythm or whatever main carry you are using for electro. Yeah, those are the skills. Let me also quickly go over weapons. There are a couple of options for weapons. There is the Verdus Reeves, which gives you 75 trigger probability. So this is awesome, you know, bunch of trigger probability. But you also have the Undying on Eros, which gives you extra max HP. So you either get, you know, more skill damage through trigger probability, or you get more skill damage through max health. I personally like using the Undying on Eros for the simple reason that you can put demon wedges on this weapon that are going to give you extra trigger probability, which you can obviously do here as well. But then you have a passive with trigger probability and then wedges as well. So to me, it's better to just put HP on and then extra wedges. But either weapon works really. For ranged weapons, it says that she is a pistol user. So for ranged weapons, it kind of pushes you into the direction of using the entropic singularity, which, I mean, it looks decent on her because you have trigger probability and every shot with the weapon has a chance, based on the trigger probability, which you will have a lot of, to fire an extra projectile at no ammo cost, dealing a bit of extra damage. So it's basically even more chance to trigger the trigger probability thingy. But I don't think this is actually her best in slot weapon. Ironically, even though she's a pistol user, the Exiled Thunderworm also has 75 trigger probability. It has a beam attack, which, you know, cool and all. But on top of all of that, when an electro character, which you are, triggers bonus effects with this weapon, the user gains 45% skill damage for 10 seconds. So to me, it just seems like a better version of this. Obviously, I haven't tested it, but I can't really assume that this is going to be worse than the pistol. But yeah, I'm obviously going to test this later on into the game, but for now, I would assume this is the best thing. Now, I don't have it, so a character that revolves fully around trigger probability, and I don't actually have a weapon that has a passive with trigger probability on it, is a bad thing, but there is a band-aid solution to it for now, because of how demon wedges work. So if I go into my wedges, you can build into your weapons, you can build trigger probability. And this is what I would highly recommend doing as like your main thing. Just build a bunch of trigger probability, whether it's just the base stat, or something that gives you extra probability off of doing something else. Just put every single wedge that you have that is related to trigger probability, put that into your weapon, just to get the stat as high as possible. Do the same for your melee weapon as you should for your ranged weapon. I have some trash in here, but yeah, just to kind of showcase how it would look for now, because I haven't fully invested into her. For the character herself, I'm not entirely sure yet about this setup. All I know and all that's important is you just want to get as much HP as possible and as much skill damage as possible. Skill range is also okay. Skill duration and skill efficiency are a bit less important, but you know, if you can get them off of something that also gives you another stat, obviously you should go for it. For now, I have this, which is good for the skill damage and kind of only for the skill damage. I've got this for some extra regen on my sanity. This, which I probably is this, I mean, this I assume is just the best in slot on every single electro character, and then some HP and some extra skill damage. This is like not even remotely close to what the ideal setup would look like, but you kind of get the point. Get as much HP as possible, get as much skill damage as possible. I want to quickly show you as well how to get these wedges. So if you go into this menu right here, and obviously if you're not at this level yet, ignore this, skip to the next section. But if you are at this level, You can get the Samuel's Ravaging Thunder as a rare drop from this. And then as a possible drop, whenever you do run this specific domain, you can also get one of these. Now, I'm personally of the opinion that all 4 of these are kind of dog shit on Sibylle, because this gives you defense, which you don't need, skill duration, which is okay, but you don't necessarily need. This gives you skill damage, which is good on her, but you don't need the attack. This is just dog shit, and then this has the HP, which is good, but it also has the attack, which isn't necessary on her. So I'm not entirely sure about the ideal setup just yet. At this point in the game, it might just be best to just put things on that have solely HP stats and skill damage on it as much as possible. Yeah, that's that. Maybe also quickly, I want to show you the Geniemon. She's gonna start yapping again, isn't she? Yeah. Oh no, okay. So the Geniemon that I would recommend using is just the Catus for now, because it's an on. How would I say this? Like an on element type thing. You are electro. This gives you a bit of electro damage. Though it is electro attack, which I guess is not that necessary. But it gives you extra sanity, which is always nice to have. If there's something else you want to run, like for example, for like normal trash domains, obviously you can just run the Roboxy as well. It's fine. Yeah, and then I want to quickly showcase the abilities in the practice range as well. Kind of show you what you should be doing. So let me actually start with just one enemy real quick. We're gonna spawn this enemy. He's gonna look angry, but he's gonna stand still. I'm gonna fill this bar up, and I want you to look at how long it takes if I just melee. So 3 hits, 4 hits, and on the 4th hit, I got a trigger. So he now has this electro effect on him, and I have 11. So I can keep hitting him. And yeah, okay. Yeah, okay, we're at 33. Now I'm gonna use my skill. And the bar is empty. That's how quickly it goes. So I can do the same with my ranged gun, and it's gonna go a bit quicker because 1, I have higher trigger probability, 2, I have higher attack speed, which I didn't mention earlier. But attack speed is also nice to have because you are going to be able to hit more and thus trigger more often. So you see, oh wow, I mean 1 clip got me 257, but I'm also going to show you again if I put the skill down, just how quickly it drains. So what you would have to do in this scenario, I'm going to spawn him again. I'm actually going to spawn a couple of enemies, and this is where she shines, because if you do this in a one-on-one scenario, you know, she doesn't have the ability to trigger on a lot of people. But if I use my skill, oops, actually should have used my ult first, get a couple triggers going, just hit as many enemies as possible, and then use a skill. And then basically I just want to hit as many enemies as possible. I can also shoot into my ultimates. And it might look like the bar is going down, but that's because I'm also using my skill still. So, where is it? Oh, I guess it went down. There you go. So if I would stop shooting right now, the bar goes down pretty quickly. If I start shooting again, I'm making it go up again. Now you might notice one of the or a couple of the flaws already with this character is that your damage is very territorial. So if you put a cloud down and you put your ult down, and all of a sudden these enemies are dead and there's a bunch of enemies there now, well, tough shit, because, you know, if you're Rebecca, all you gotta do is just go over here, put another jellyfish down, easy does it. On Sibylle, it actually requires more effort to get it back, but that's how it will work on this character. And that's kind of basically the whole thing with her. I want to quickly show you what it would look like in the immersive theater. Just to kind of give you an idea as to how or where you should set up your stuff. So what I'm going to do is I'm actually going to take off Rebecca here and put a level 1 Berenica and a level... No, I'll do a level 1 outsider just to have a little less damage on them and to be able to show the damage I can do on... Wait, yeah. I can do on my Sibylle. So again, we're going to put our ult down, get a couple of stacks of our Power of Zeus, and then we're going to use our skill to get some more damage going. And it's probably going to take a while because I'm not fully built. So we're going to put this down, just hit into it, and you see I'm building so much resource. I can maybe even put a second skill down. I'm building so much resource because I'm hitting a lot of enemies. So we can put another one down. Veronica's already bit the dust. We can even put another one down. You can only have 3 of these out at once, by the way. But because I'm hitting so many enemies at once, and obviously my chances of triggering bonus effects are so much higher because there are multiple enemies, the bar doesn't really go down. It's going down pretty quickly now because I'm attacking less enemies at once. I can pop my ult again to get some extra trigger probability chances in there because it's an extra target. And also I can shoot into it if I would like, just like this. And, well, there goes Outsider. And we might actually... I think I'll survive. Yeah, I'll survive. Yeah, that's basically how it would work. Now, it's not ideal for now, for 2 reasons. One is that I'm not running content that is specifically weak to Electro, because then she's gonna do much better. And 2 is because I'm not fully built on her. But as soon as those 2 things come around, I think she actually has quite a lot of potential. And that's basically it. I hope you enjoyed. I hope this was helpful. If there's any more questions that you have, please be sure to let me know in the comments. And I thank you for watching. See you in the next one. Goodbye.